Hello, everyone. My name is Dean Kelley with the Georgia Transparency Coalition. I'm here today with Todd Noblitt at his offices here in Fort Oglethorpe. And Todd is running for the 53rd Senate seat, state Senate seat in Georgia, where Jeff Mullis is currently the incumbent. And we're going to talk to him today and let you get to know him a little bit better and hear some of his ideas and what kind of person he is. Todd, thank you for letting us come in today.
Hey, I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, we appreciate you. And first of all, I want to thank you for running for office. Anybody that runs for office, I think, is wonderful because there's so few people that should run, and those that should run don't want to run sometimes. So we do appreciate you so much for running for office. So just to help the voters out there, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
I'm a local guy. I grew up in Walker County. I've lived there my entire life. Was the last graduating class of Rossville High School. One thing that I tell people that's a little humorous is that, or I don't know if you find humor in it, but a little interesting, every school I've ever been to has either closed or changed its name. I was a member of a student at Fairview Elementary School, which is now closed. I was a student at Rossville Junior High that burnt during my 8th grade year. Then Rossville High School, I was the last graduating class from the high school. Went on to Dalton College, which as you know now is Dalton State College, and then completed a bachelor's degree at Shorter College, which is now Shorter University. So I don't know what that says, good or bad, but all the schools I've attended have had something happen. So. Other than education, so that gives you folks an idea of the education. I'm married to my wife, Sherry. We've been married for 10 and a half years. We're a blended family. We have 4 children together with that blended family, 2 sons and 2 daughters. We also have 4 grandkids. So I always smile when I say grandkids. That's a good thing. So other than that, the kinds of things that I think are important that people need to know about me, I've worked for about 10 years at Shaw Industries in Dalton as a lift truck operator in a expediter position. Those positions help me to gain a lot of appreciation for folks that do that kind of work. It's important to me that those folks are represented well. So after about 9.5 years or so with Shaw, I entered into the insurance industry in 2002. That has parlayed into 2004 the purchase of an agency with the guys I'm partners with. And since 2004, I've been here in Fort Oglethorpe operating Noblitt, Goss & Associates Insurance Services, an independent insurance agency. A lot of activities I've done in life, extracurricular type of activities. When my son was little, for many years of his growing up, I coached Little League basketball, baseball, and football. I've done church work, the Awana program at Oakwood Baptist Church. I was involved in implementing it from the starting point. Years prior to that, going back a little, I was in the volunteer fire department back when it was the Fort Oglethorpe Volunteer Fire Department. I volunteered over in Chattooga Valley with that station. Also served there as the president of the Firemen's Club for a couple of years. Since then, I have some of the church work I've done mission work at several churches. Chattanooga Valley Baptist Church, I was the chairman of the mission committee. And speaking of churches, my wife Sherry and I now attend and are members of Emmanuel Baptist Church out on Lakeview Drive here in Rossville. Other things, I love to travel. The traveling has opened up doors for me. I've led mission trips to Africa. I've been in Romania. I've actually took a biblical archaeology class in Israel. That trip we went to Italy as well, to Rome. On the other travels I've had, the thing that people find most interesting, and you say, oh wow, he did Israel, that's cool. In 2003, I was in Hawaii and on vacation, and we were going snorkeling early in the morning, and walking down the beach, a kid come running up and asking for help. What's wrong? And he said she's had her arm bitten off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We run down to the water, and as the story unfolded, there were 3 of us. One guy, that Bethany Hamilton, the blonde-headed surfer girl that everybody knows, We were actually there the morning that happened, and there was about 4 or 5 of us on the beach that morning when that event unfolded.
Wow.
So a lot of people find that interesting, and that we were there. And then the next question is, they made a movie. Who were you in the movie? I wasn't in the movie. Sorry.
That's pretty
But that's a little bit about me. The biggest thing is I love our community. I love the diversity of our community with the mountains and the ponds and the lakes. From Calvin Falls over in the Villanelle area, up to Cloudland Canyon, down to Rocktown. If you guys haven't tried Rocktown, been to Rocktown, that's an asset to our community.
Mm-hmm.
So we love to travel. We love to just get out and meet people. And that's part of what this campaign is about: is bringing the focus back to the people of this community.
When you run for office like you're doing, it's a tremendous amount of time and effort and personal sacrifice, as well as your personal finances. What has motivated you to want to seek this 53rd Senate District?
Good question. When I originally started looking at political offices, there was no rhyme or reason to where I was going to go or what I was going to do. I just felt like at some point in life I would want to serve. When I looked at the 53rd District and the state Senate position, it became very clear that would be a great opportunity to lead a broad segment of people to improve our community and do so in a way that would be something that would be life-changing for many people. How am I going to do that? It's not going to be just in Atlanta. It's going to be being out in the community. As you know, over the past, since May, when we announced the election, that I was going to be running for office, we announced the campaign, and decided I was going to be running for office, we were very adamant that we were going to be out in the community, meeting people, and finding out things that needed to be changed in communities. Our infrastructure, some of the roads, some of the bridges on the local level and on the state level need work. So as we talked more to people, it became clear too that some of in Chattooga County, man, the things they've gone through with the concerns with their water in Summerville, became very clear that our infrastructure has been neglected. We've got to have somebody that comes aboard and makes it a priority to do that, to look at our infrastructure, look at where we can make improvements. That's what we're doing. We're trying to do changes like that. Another big thing is I think that for us when we were kids, there was a commercial, Tennessee Trash, that was on the Chattooga commercials. You remember the commercial? That commercial created for a couple of generations the mindset it's not cool to throw trash out on the sides of the road. Mm-hmm. What that commercial also taught me is when we focus on something, changes happen. If we don't focus on something and let it just say, oh, that's the way it is, we can't do anything about it, nothing's going to change. So one of my priorities is to get into the school systems and start from a young age. I want to start having conversations with the kids, not just from myself, but I'm going to organize the group of leadership in the elected officials in the district. I want to start going into schools, having conversations, saying, hey, you were furnished by the taxpayers, school books, facilities, computers, whatever it is that us as taxpayers are furnishing to the students. It's your responsibility to take care of that. If you look at the schools, look at the kids that go in, and we've visited sporting events and things like that at some of the schools. Faucets run without being able to be turned off. There's the paper towel holders are broke off the walls in some cases. Why? Because no one told these kids to take care of the things that were being furnished to them. So it's important to me that we go back and we start having conversations about things like that. Not only that, but I want to get to a point where we not only, you're not going to school just to have a good time. Students that are in school are supposed to be learning. There's a point to that learning. That learning gets you to a point in life where you can be successful. We want you to be successful. In America, it's the greatest country in the world. You can choose to do anything you want to do, and you can work and you can go after it. Those kids need to know that they have those opportunities if they'll study, learn as much as they can, and then we expect them to go out and to become productive adults and contribute to our society. We want them to come back and live in our communities and volunteer. We want them to contribute to the tax base by holding down good employment, owning houses in our communities. So, again, going back to the Tennessee trash thing that we talked about, the same thing. If we don't talk about these things, which I haven't heard political leaders talking about these things like on the level like I'm looking at doing, if we don't do that, we're going to keep getting the same results that we're getting. So that's important to me that we look at those things and try to make improvements. So.
You bring something across my mind when you're going through all that. You know, we've had a lot of emphasis on education the last few years, trying to get everyone to go to college. As a result of that, some of our trades like plumbers and electricians and welders, a lot of those jobs are aren't being filled. There's a shortage of those folks. So should we at the state level do something different to try to encourage people that there are alternatives other than just college?
Absolutely. I have a friend that lives over in Florence, Alabama. They lived here. He was actually a manager of Kmart for years. When Kmart closed here in Fort Oglethorpe, he moved that back to Florence, Alabama. His son grew up with my son, and in a conversation we were having, he said his son decided not to go to college, but he became a welder, went to welding school. He was talking about the opportunities that were there. We're always going to need plumbers. We're always going to need people that will roof houses, do construction work. We're going to need people that are mechanics that can work on cars, because I can't.
And the Chinese aren't going to come over here, do
No, the Chinese are certainly not going to come over here and fix it. And so we need people to step up into those roles, and we need to let them know that's not looked down on, that's appreciated. Mm-hmm. And if folks don't step up and when they have skill sets like that, then it leaves a void that it puts us in trouble as a society.
Yeah, you're always going to need plumbers. You're always going to need electricians. You're always going to need, and a lot of them make a very good living too.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with working like that. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people when I was going to college, everybody was a business major. Mm-hmm. Now, the business major doesn't always get you to the best job in the world and the best atmosphere. There's a lot of guys that have approached me about working for me. They're in the business world, and they're stressed out. I mean, they can't. It's not a 5-day-a-week job. They can't get it off their minds what they're doing because there's so much pressure. These guys that are, and that could be in any business, obviously, but these guys that are doing the mechanical work or something like that, they see instantly when they repair your car and they see you drive off, they see gratification and they get some reward, not even above financial, just because of what they're doing to again contribute to our society.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It is, and it's something we should encourage. More on a local note, you know, our incumbent Jeff Mullis, who's over this Senate Rules Committee, he's a veteran down there. Been down there a long time, I guess close to 20 years now. And also, one of the issues up here, he's also, you know, involved with the Northwest Georgia Development Authority, and which provide, I guess that's really his full-time job.
I have some big concerns with it.
Okay, let's see what you have to
my
say.
concerns start from the fact, I believe it was in 07 or 08, whenever he was made president of the Northwest Georgia Joint Development Authority. Mm-hmm. He's representing us on the state level as our state senator. First concern that comes to mind, that salary at that point was about $75,000, if my numbers are correct. Mm-hmm. He is responsible for being in Atlanta as a state senator for about 40 days during the session. So that automatically takes a big chunk of the year that he's not even working in that capacity. Mm-hmm. Yet we're continuing as the counties that are contributing to it's taxpayer funded money that's contributing to the Northwest Georgia Joint Development Authority. And this guy's full time, but yet he's unable to fulfill his duties on a regular basis. And then also you might say he's double dipping. That double dipping, when we're talking about double dipping, he's getting paid to represent us as a state senator. And then he also is getting paid very lucratively to represent us as the Joint Development Authority. It would be great if we were seeing progress that was just, we could just put our finger on it and say, look at all these things that have happened. Yet there's been very limited amounts of progress that have been made for the amount of time he's been there and the amount of power that he claims to have. So if he's really got that much influence, why aren't we seeing the results all across the 53rd District? We're giving the money as taxpayers to do it. We're certainly want to see smart growth in our communities. And thankfully we have had some smart growth. But there's other entities that are working to promote that as well. Each county has an economic development authority or person. And those individuals are doing the same thing. So it's sort of a duplicated service in my way of thinking. Now, if you ask, they're not going to say that. They're going to say, we do this, and he's more, the economic development. Northwest Georgia is going to be more of a advertising, marketing firm, type. However, I work hard and I pay taxes. Those taxes I want to be spent wisely. And I'm not sold that that's the wisest way to spend our taxes. I understand there's government incentives from the state to have economic development. But do we have to do it on the scale we're doing it at the cost that it's costing, at the dollar amount it's costing our taxpayers to do that?
We only have a few more minutes here, but something I want to kind of go back and visit a little bit before we end it is when you were introducing, you obviously are very involved in your church. Obviously, that's something that's very important to you. How has that motivated you to run, and is that something you're going to bring to your everyday service if you are elected, or how is that going to affect your work down there at the Capitol?
As I said earlier, I've been interested in running for years, but it just kept putting it off, not the right time. Stacey Abrams did me a big favor. When Stacey Abrams was that close to becoming our governor, I realized that if my conservative values are that important to me, I better step up and do something about it. So in that process, I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago and I heard a guy named Kevin Lehman talking. He said, in America, the way we do things, he said, we have if you imagine a circle, and we have religion, and then we have a circle, and we have politics. He said, we're taught that those two don't intertwine. However, he said, if you're a Christian, and you say that Christ is Lord, Jesus Christ is Lord, everything you do is in that circle. So there's no way to separate church and politics. And I've thought that all along, but it was a great way to present it. And the more I thought about it, I realized that we as Christians have been told by the left that we can't do this, we can't do that. This is America. We have the opportunity to seek election, to be represented by Christians if that's what we want. And we have an opportunity, if elected, to go down and to look at biblical principles when we're looking at legislation.
Well, there you have it. We've been visiting with Todd Noblitt today, who's a candidate for the 53rd District of the State Senate. We have our primaries in May, so I'm sure you'll be hearing more from Todd in the future, and I hope today's video helped you get to know him a little bit better. Thank you very much.